Good afternoon and welcome back to the channel. I'm Colin, this is my buddy Blue, and today we are heading up to Highland Perthshire. Wasn't the plan. The plan was to drive through Highland Perthshire and keep on going up into the Highlands of Scotland and do a little bit of camping not far from Ben Nevis tonight, but as we were planning it sort of tail end of the week, the weather looked really good for this weekend. It looked perfect camping weather, and as we left today, the weather for tomorrow has completely changed, and instead of being a really nice, warm, dry day, there's going to be thunderstorms from about 4 o'clock in the morning, pretty much right over the area that we were going to be going camping in. So I had a bit of a chat with Blue, and we decided between us that we don't fancy camping in thunderstorms, and what we would do is cut today short, just go for a wander somewhere in Highland Perthshire and go home, sadly. So that is the plan. We found a little trail just outside a little place called Pitlochry, so we're on our way to Pitlochry at the moment. We're going to park up, get ourselves ready, and we're going to head off into the hills. We have just arrived into Pitlochry, and we're just going to go and find somewhere to park the car, get ourselves organised, and then make our way towards the little walking trail that we found here that we're going to do today rather than our camping. Pitlochry is a lovely little village. It's one of these gateway villages, or they call it a gateway village. It's one of the last villages before you make your way into the Highlands. So it's always worth a stop in here. There's also Dunkeld, which is a few miles before Pitlochry if you're coming from the south. Again, that's a really nice little village to pop in and visit. They've got a couple of distilleries in Pitlochry if you're looking to do a whisky tasting tour. So yeah, lots going on in such a small little place. Definitely worth checking out if you're on your way into the Highlands, for sure. Cool. So we've made it to Pitlochry, and we're just starting one of the trails there it's called the Cluny Walk. So we're just going to cross over the River Tummel, which runs alongside Pitlochry, and we're going to start to make our way around the path. It's about 12 kilometres in total, I believe, and elevation gains about 470 metres or so, apparently. Not done this one before, obviously. That's the whole point in doing it. So yeah, we'll keep you updated as we go around. So we've made it across the extremely narrow suspension bridge. That's kind of cool. Blue didn't like it very much because it was bouncing, and he's never been on one of those before, but we made it. And we're just finding ourselves on probably the steepest part of the walk so far, which is still kind of like a single track road. I'm hoping when we get to the top of this single track road that there isn't a car park. That'd be disappointing, but not to worry. I'll give you a bit more of an update when we get into the next section of the walk, because we need to cross over the A9, which I believe is going to be via the road rather than the walk bridge, but I'll let you know how that works out. So yeah, this has just made it to the next crossover. You can see just there, that's the path that we're aiming for, but just behind is the A9, which is a very fast road. Quite a dangerous road actually, so it's not ideal. If you're bringing kids on this walk, there's a tip for you. Be mindful of that. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to get us across to the other side and see what's happening over there. Okay, so we made it, and looks like we're just going to start to continue along this little single track road and make our way up into the more scenic elements of it, I would hope, because the A9 is not, it's a nice road to drive up, but I certainly don't want to walk alongside it. There's no fun in that. So yeah, let's see where we end up next. So we are just about 35-40 minutes into the walk so far. We've done just over 2 kilometres and we've climbed about just over 100 metres in height so far, and it's not taken us long to get away from sort of the villages and the main roads and all that. So it's all very peaceful and quiet up here, but there is a lovely piece of shade as well, which I don't know about Blue, but I'm finding very pleasant at the minute. It is quite warm today, apparently 23 degrees in Scotland. How often do you say that? We've just taken the first kind of fork. It's going to take us on the loop now. This looks like more sort of forest walking. Still going uphill, but yeah, we're certainly in a more interesting part of the walk than we were at the very beginning of it. It's nice up here. All very woodlandy. Blue waiting patiently as always. I don't think this camera angle really shows how steep this hill is, but it's a steep climb, and we've come all the way up from there, and it keeps going all the way up there. Blue's good to go. Glad someone is. Oh, quick sit rep. So we're about an hour and a quarter into the walk. We've climbed about 260 metres and we're about 3¾ kilometres in, so still got quite a long way to go actually. But I did say that the elevation of the entire walk was about 480 metres, so we might well have done the majority of the climbing already, because that takes into account going back down and then climbing back up again. So we'll see how much more climbing we've got to go. But it's a really nice path actually. I'm quite surprised though how little wildlife we've seen. Considering we're walking in a forested area, we've seen some butterflies and that's about it, and some birds. I was kind of expecting to see some deer or some game or something like that, but you never know, we might catch up with them later on. The trees seem to be thinning out a little bit, which is cool, so I might be nearing the top, because it's been quite a tree-lined path all the way along so far, up to where we are at the minute. So hopefully when we get a little bit further along this path here, we'll start to get more of a view and more of an idea as to where we are, because we've certainly been surrounded by trees quite a lot on the path for the last little while. So yeah, let's see where we end up in a couple of minutes time. This is more like it. Just as I thought, we were coming to the clearing, so it looks like a lot more sort of barren up here outside the tree lines, so you get a bit of a view. I'm saying a bit of a view, it's a beautiful view. It's certainly not a road or a forest road like we've been walking up for the last little while. We're very much in amongst the heather, which isn't quite bonny and purple yet, but I'm sure it will be in a couple of months' time. It's this could also get a little bit boggy and a little bit marshy up here if you catch this at the wrong time of year and it's raining. Just to put that on your radar, because what I will do is I've recorded the walk that I'm doing, so I'll stick that probably at the end of the video, or I'll link to it, or whatever I can do with it, just so if anybody is up in this direction and wants to take the walk, then it'll be there for you. It's fairly easy. You need a reasonable level of fitness, which I've not really got, but that was more to do with my accident last year than anything else, being lazy about it, because some of you may or may not know that I had a bit of an accident on my motorbike last year, which ended up with me destroying my right leg. So I've been on kind of a little bit of rehabilitation for the last 12 months or so, trying to get back to some kind of manoeuvring and getting out and about, because I had 4 broken bones in my foot, I had 3 breaks on my lower tib on my right leg, and had a shattered tib just below the knee, but when that went, I took the knee with it, and really now it's my knee that's caused me more problems than anything. So hence, sorry about the shaky camera, but there's not much I can do about it, because that accident is the reason that I still hobble about to this day, which hopefully will get better the more I get out and the more I exercise. Well, we've taken a bit of a detour to a viewpoint, and it was certainly worth the climb to get to the top of it, because the view up here is pretty cool, right the way down into Pitlochry, all the way around. It's kind of like one of these panoramic views you get when you come up to the viewpoint. I suppose that's why it's called the viewpoint. I'd be awful disappointed if you didn't see anything when you got here. It's become quite marshy up here all of a sudden. Not really sure why. Might be because the last of the snow started to melt on tops of the hills here, and it's been really dry. I actually thought it was too dry when I was walking through the heather at that viewpoint there, like dangerously dry, but it's quite squidgy and quite mucky up here. Blue's decided to go for a roll in it as well, which he was very happy about. Me not so much. So we're well into the walk now, about 7.25 kilometres, and we've climbed just over 350 metres so far. So we might have a little bit more climbing to do, but I kind of think that's us at the top of the track now more than anything, and we're going to start to make our way down towards where the cars park back in Pitlochry. Really nice walk up here. It's a beautiful walk. It's a bit of a breeze as well, so it's not like absolutely baking with the sun, which is quite nice. I'm sure I'll get a little bit of a beating from the sun today, but not as bad as it could have been, I don't think. I mean, bear in mind it's just after 5 o'clock at night as well. It's still really quite nice up here. So not far to go on the walk. We've got about maybe 4 kilometres or so till we get back to the car. So yeah, all going well. At the minute, still a shame. I mean, Blue's nose went up in the air there, like he was tracking something, like he had smelt something. I thought there might have been a deer or something around and about, but apparently not. I didn't see anything anyway. There's plenty of deer fences and whatnot in this section, so there may be the other side of the fence. You see just over my shoulder here the deer fences with the slats on them, just to keep the deer in, and also for safety of the deer, because when they go charging through the woods there, so the animals can see there's actually something there as well. It's also it's not just for the deer, it's for the game birds and whatnot. If they're flapping about, they see there's an obstacle in the way rather than going flying in and doing themselves some damage. It's a good idea. Since we're on the subject of doing some damage to wildlife, I'm still not really sure what happened with my accident on my motorbike, because to this day I've got no idea. What I do know is I was riding along on a kind of a mountain road, minding my own business, and then the next thing I kind of felt like I came to and had been transported somewhere else. Although I was still going in a straight line with my bike, the bike was wobbling about, and I never came off it, funnily enough. But there was nothing else on the road, and but the only thing I did recognise at that point in time was my right leg felt dead. So after I got the bike back under control and got rid of the tank slapper, I got my leg back on the foot peg, and I thought I better stop the bike somewhere and see what's wrong with my leg. And as I did that, and I went to put my legs down, obviously there was nothing there for my right leg, and I just kind of slow motioned to the right and kicked myself off the bike. And at that point I kind of worked out that there's something pretty seriously wrong with my leg. So I ended up phoning for some help, and nobody really knows what happened, as I say, including me, but the best guess that the police and the fire that came out in the ambulance, they said that they think I'd been hit by an animal, maybe a deer or a wild boar, and they said more than likely wild boar, because the forested area that I was riding my bike along the side of, there was a lot of them there, so potentially that's what happened. But I have no idea. All I know is that whatever it was absolutely jackpotted my leg. There wasn't a mark on the bike, other than a little scrape on the exhaust where I fell over and landed on it. Other than that, the bike was completely unmarked. But I had a completely ruined right leg from the knee down. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, that. I was going to say it's funny, but there's nothing funny about it. But it would have been nice to know, and annoyingly enough, I always used to have my cameras on because I used to have a motorbike vlog, and the one day that I didn't take my camera with me, simply because I was too lazy, because I got myself a new helmet and I couldn't get the bracket to fit on it properly, I decided to go out without my cameras with me. And the one day that I had my very one accident on my bike, and I needed them. Anyway, not to worry, I'm still here, that's the main thing. And what it has done is it's given me a bit of a change in direction. And rather than going out on my bike on my own all the time, I go out with my dog now, and I do some exercise in the hills, which is something I didn't do when I was out on my bike. I just rode from one place to the next, stopped at a coffee, got back on my bike and carried on again. So now what I do is I go out with my dog, a bit of exercise, spend some time with him. As you can tell by the videos, he loves it. And I do everything on 4 wheels now rather than 2. Not saying I'll never go on a motorbike again, but I did try them at the start of the year and my leg just didn't feel strong enough to carry the weight. So we'll see how it feels after doing some exercise and whatnot this year and doing some walking, and take it from there. You never know. It might end up being a outdoors come 4x4 come motorbike channel. Wait and see. It would appear we're going up again. Wasn't expecting that. Just when you think you're on a downhill stretch, you get hit with another upward slope, which, let me tell you, is a lot steeper than what it looks in this on this screen. Anyway, we're almost at the top hopefully. Even Blue stopped, he's had enough. Haven't you, pal? Haven't you? You had enough. We're almost there though. We're going to go? Come on then, let's go. Are you catching flies, are you? Are you hungry? Come on then, let's do it. Good boy. You can drag me up the hill. Whew. This is just kind of back to the main road, so we just finished the loop. Just came down that little path there, and that path up there is the one that we went along earlier. Flies are definitely out. Don't know if you can see them in the camera or not. Blue's getting really fed up with them. He's trying to catch them. You might see in the background there. He's having his own little battle with them. There you go. Yeah, there's lots of flies, Blue, isn't there? Yeah. So yeah, that's keeping him occupied. But yeah, I'm not too far till I get back to the car. So we'll catch up with him when the walk's finished, and I'll give you my honest thoughts on the path that we've been wandering around today. What's up, pal? What is it? You scared of something? It's just a parking cone, pal. Come on, it's okay. You're alright. I know you don't expect to see that out in the forest, but you're alright. It's okay. You're going to go and check it out. Thank goodness. You're alright. Oh, there you go. Is that better? Get your own back. Come on then, good boy. Random. So, I told you a little bit earlier that was us back to where we split off the paths, and that wasn't actually correct. And I'll tell you when we get back to the car as to how I've managed to make that mistake, but we actually went up that path there. So now, having come down that path there, Blue smelt something again. We're now going to head down there, and that's us on our way back down to Pitlochry. I don't know what he's smelling, but there's obviously something interesting up that there path for him. Come on, Blue. But yeah, I'll explain how I've managed to think I was in somewhere else when we get back to the car, and I'll give you a rundown on my thoughts about this walk. Excellent, so that is us back in the car and southbound heading home. We've got about an hour and a quarter, hour and a half-ish roughly from Pitlochry home, so I'm sure Blue will be lying in the back snoring shortly. And whilst he's doing that, I thought I would give you that review of the walk that I said I was going to give you, a bit of an honest opinion on it. The walk itself, the app said that we did just about 14.25 kilometres. The overall time, including the stops, took about 4.25 hours, and the total elevation that we had climbed was 531, I think it said. So it was all a little bit more than what the route was marked out at to begin with, but it wasn't an overly difficult route. I mean, I managed to do that 14.25 kilometres with a bad leg in just over 4 hours, so that part of it was fine. It was all very samey though, and hence I got confused on the way back, saying this is us back to the same part again, because it was a lot of forest walking and it was a lot of forest tracks. And by the time I was coming back, it was all very samey and it was all a little bit boring, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. It was a really lovely walk, but it took about an hour and a half to get to the top of the hill where it opened up, and then you had the scenery, the viewpoint and all of that kind of thing. And then once you got down to the other side of that, it was then all forest tracks, and very much almost identical to what I'd been walking in on the way up, even though it was a loop. So from that perspective, it was very, very samey, and as I say, there wasn't even really any wildlife out there. It was butterflies, flies and birds. But it's a really wonderful walk if you want to get away from everything and be at one with nature and walk through the forest and just hear the birds in the background. But it was missing something a little bit for me, and on a 4.25 hour walk I would like to have had a little bit more out of it. But nice walk all the same. If you are in Pitlochry and you're looking for a forest walk and something that's not overly challenging, then go for it, because apparently the app said I'd done over 2,000 calories, so I could treat myself to a nice dinner tonight based on that. So it was always a good to a bad, I suppose. So yeah, that was my opinion of the walk. It was nice. Would I do it again? No. Would I recommend people to do it? It's a difficult one, because it's really subjective as to what you want to get out of a walk. I like to see water, I like to see rivers, I like to see lochs, as well as lots of trees and mountains. And kind of, I like to see lots of different things on the walk, but today was very, very forest tracky. So if you do like forest tracks, then yeah, I would recommend it to anybody, because there's lots of it. It's easy underfoot, it's not too marshy in the conditions I was walking in. It got a little bit marshy at the top, as I said, but on the route itself the paths are all really well kept, and it's an easy enough walk. So yeah, I would never put anybody off it if you're in Pitlochry. There are other walks there, and I'm sure we'll do more in the future, but given the last minute change of plan today, the lack of research, that's kind of what happens, I suppose. You just go for what you think looks alright, tick some boxes, and that's what we did. I enjoyed it. That's the main thing. It was nice to get out there, nice to get out with Blu, and just get away from the city for a little while. And yeah, in that perspective, I always love coming north. I always like getting out into the outdoors. That's the whole point, you know. Go and see new things. Sometimes it works out and you get absolutely everything, you get blown away by it, and other times you think, oh, that was nice, but that's it, you know. It's all part of the adventure. So anyway, that is my honest opinion of the walk. Yeah, home time. We'll get the tired boy home. So that's us done. Blu's all tired. I'm tired. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. This is our first video. There'll be more of the Scottish outdoors and other places coming. We do have a bit of a plan pulled together, don't we, pal? Yeah, we do. He doesn't look overly enthusiastic about it at the minute, but believe me, he's really looking forward to it. So hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.